Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are diving into a bit of a change of topic for today. Originally, we were going to go over SEO for Blake Lively, but there were so many requests over the weekend to revisit the work I did early in 2025 on Ryan Reynolds and Ari Emanuel. So ask and you sometimes will receive. I can't do everything that's thrown at me. But today we are going to look at Ryan Reynolds and the problems on set, because one of the things that I was seeing the most on my reels about Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds over the weekend was people saying, it's just some sources. It might not even be them. Fair enough. And when you start to look at the history of Ryan Reynolds on set, I don't know, call me crazy, but it kind of fits that he's being juvenile, he's cracking jokes, and people are taking it wrong in his mind, quote unquote, wrong, and it blowing up into issues. This is his playbook. So we're going to break it down again today. This is all these slides have been added to, but they're primarily slides from earlier this year. And I also had a video strictly on Ari Emanuel, and I believe I put that in the new playlist, which is Exposés on Hollywood, because I've had a lot of questions about, can you put it all in one place? So I made a new playlist called Exposés on Hollywood, and you can catch it there. Now, before we get started, I wanted to welcome everybody, all the new friends to the channel. Holy cow. Make yourself at home. Hang out in the chat. It is the best chat going. I have very high standards for the chat, and that is a good leeway into or bridge into introducing everyone to the 3 new mods of the channel. And you guys know them because they're here all the time, and we love them, and they're incredible. And I always say they're my biggest cheerleaders. So Leo, welcome as a mod to the channel. And I know you guys, I know this channel, you are going to welcome them and love on them and be so good for them. Lara Trainer, another one. Lara, welcome to the channel. Everyone knows Lara. She's everywhere. She's on all of the channels. Her name pops up. And we also have Haley. I saw Haley in the chat. I'm behind on the chat. There we go. There's Haley. And I want to let you guys know that I had been holding off on mods for so long because, one, this chat is very rarely problematic. I think we've only had one day where I'd be like, what is going on? Can we all chill and chat and stop arguing? So I held off on it for so long because, one, everyone is incredible. This chat's amazing. This community is amazing. But number 2, it's my house. It's my rules. And I wanted to make sure when I brought mods on that the vibe didn't change of the channel and that everyone was still respected, that there wasn't tiers, there wasn't some people better than others, nothing like that. So I held off on so long of adding mods for those reasons, but I really trust these 3 individuals and I love them to bits. And they've been here pretty much from the beginning doing mod things without the official title. And so let's just keep the energy of this chat going. It is a family. Everyone gets along really well. We respect each other. No infighting, guys. No trashing other creators. Nothing like that. Like, let's just stay focused on what we're talking about. And please stay focused because I'm ADHD. So we need that. All right. So welcome to you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here and all the support so far. And now it's official. So welcome. All right, let's dive right in because we have a lot to talk about today. And we're going to look at, is Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively, the problem on sets? I genuinely believe that in the grand scheme of things, they themselves aren't necessarily the problem. They are just an example of the power dynamics that happen in Hollywood. Unfortunately, power, money, connections, all goes places. And this all really kind of leads back, in my opinion, to Ari Emanuel. We'll go over him again, but again, under the Exposés on Hollywood, you can find older videos on him. When you're connected to someone like Ari in the industry, unfortunately, you might be untouchable as long as you're on his good side. So I think the overall problem that we're seeing with Blake and Ryan is a representation of the problems within Hollywood. And so on this channel, welcome if you're new, my name is Ashley Brianna Eve. I have over 15 years of experience in PR, marketing, and branding. And on this channel, we look at trending pop culture stories through the lens of media manipulation and narrative control through branding, marketing, and PR. So what we're really seeing is them representing and kind of exposing the skeletons in the closet. And I have a lot to say on that as well. All right. Oh, shoot. I forgot to take those out. Okay. The first thing that we're going to see, those were from the old expose I did earlier. You can watch those videos. We're going to skip that part. The first thing that I will say is when we look at Ryan Reynolds from the beginning, he had problems on bolt neck. Do you guys, let me know in the chat, do you guys remember bolt neck? I don't even know if I have it in this. I might. But there were problems on bolt neck where he was going against the producers and directors on that, and he was literally a nobody there. So one of the things I've constantly asked myself is, why the backing of him? Why this continuous push? Now, no doubt he's worked hard for that as well. He's continued to push failure after failure after failure after failure. And I've always just wondered, why? Who was supporting him? Who had his back all this time? Because even when we look at Blade, for example, Trinity, he was set to essentially take over the franchise. And that's not my assumption. That's not anything other than what was put out in the public. And even Wesley Snipes said that himself in interviews after the fact. He said, yes, I was being pushed out so that someone else could take over. So it was pretty much well known at that time that Ryan Reynolds was supposed to take over as Hannibal King. But why? And I genuinely can't figure it out, because if you watch the older exposés I did, Ryan wasn't connected to Ari Emanuel at the time of, well, Bolt Neck, definitely not, but also not at the time of Blade Trinity. Ari had an issue with Wesley Snipes, and we've covered that in the past. We will cover it again later this week. But he wasn't connected to Ari. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know where that backing was from the get-go, but it was there. So we're going to break down some of the path of destruction he's left behind him. And I'm not going to say that this was all intentional. I will leave it for you guys. You are smart. You guys can make up your own minds. I will just put it out there for you, and you can decide. But when you start to see person after person after person after person that has had issues or been treated horribly by Ryan, at what point do you say Ryan's the problem? And I've been seeing on some of my reels saying, well, Wesley Snipes had problem before Blade, and TJ Miller, he had issues, and, Ryan was just doing what Ryan does. Yeah, that's a problem. Ryan does what Ryan does. But are you now saying that, well, it's okay if you believe that Ryan's a better person than them, then it's okay for him to treat them badly? Or if you like Ryan more, it's okay to treat them badly? I just don't understand that logic. And so people were moving, I'm assuming bots, allegedly, my opinion only, for Ryan and Blake, were moving the goalposts, which is what they do, continuously move the goalpost and have an intelligent debate, move the goalpost to be like, well, those people weren't very nice people. Okay. And I just don't understand. We're not discussing their past here. So let's break it down. Let's see what went on. Oh, there we go. We have some videos embedded. We're going all out today, guys. It's like old school exposés for me. Bolt Neck. I didn't think I had it, but there it is. 2000, Bolt Neck. Ryan refused to take direction on the set. He started to build his own brand as a bad Jim Carrey, which is what Matthew Lawrence said. That's not my interpretation. Through impressions of Jim Carrey. And Matthew Lawrence claimed that he had issues with Oscar-nominated crew on set, and they basically told Ryan, that's not what we hired you to do. And the set became troubled. Y'all, how many times have we heard the troubled set or friction on set connected to Ryan Reynolds? How many times can you hear that connected and then be like, maybe Ryan's potentially, allegedly, the reason that we have all of this friction and tension on set? It's weird. So here's this. This was going viral earlier this year. This little clip here. We'll play it.
Oh, I mean, Ryan's amazing. Matt did a movie with him.
I did do a movie with him.
Oh, really?
He was a total schlub then.
What was the movie?
Bolt Neck? I'm not sure. It was Young Frankenstein. I'm like a science weird nerd, and I resurrect him. And it's Ryan Reynolds as Bolt.
This sounds
is
like
my
a really
Frankenstein.
good movie.
It just missed the mark, but it was a really interesting movie. Great script. The funny part about it is that the production team was having a really hard time with Ryan. This is young Ryan. I'd grown up in the industry, so I'd known my way around a set by that point. I was dialed in, right? He wasn't dialed in. He'd walk out, didn't really, just wanted to kind of do his thing. And the producers were getting really upset because they said, and they even told him, like, Ryan, this is a bad Jim Carrey impersonation. We don't want not what we hired you to do. You can't impersonate somebody. You got to do your own thing. And he got upset at that. And he was like, I'm doing my thing. And then I was privy to a meeting between the director and talk about frustrations on set with actors. I'll never forget being privy to this movie going, I can't believe this guy. We had so much hope for this guy. He's going nowhere.
That's funny. He's like the biggest.
You never know in Hollywood, folks. Those 90s like grunge offbeat movies, that's what they were trying to make. I'm not even mad at Ryan in the sense that he actually stayed true to who he truly is authentically, because honestly, he was trying to Deadpool it.
So there you go. Problems with Ryan on the set of Bolt Neck. I mean, you had to be old. You have to be old if we're going back as far as Bolt Neck. But he was problematic, and so problematic that they were basically like, you're going to go nowhere. And there's something to be said. Hey, I say nice things about Ryan sometimes. There is something to be said for building your brand. I don't recommend copying someone else. And he was obviously testing things out to try and build his brand. But again, it just makes you wonder why? Everyone was saying there's no way he's going to go anywhere. And yet he continually went somewhere. It's bizarre. So that was Bolt Neck. Oh, there's a lot, guys. You're just going to have to buckle up because there's a lot. There is then Alanis Morissette. So they dated 2002 to 2007. She called their relationship amazing and horrifying. Let me undo.
We were in love with him. I didn't like it. I thought the guy was a douchebag. Are there angry songs on here where, Dave Coulier, we learned was a douchebag?
No, and judgments abound.
So, I heard he was a douchebag. Speaking about Ryan Reynolds, and that's Alanis. So she said her split inspired flavors of entanglement and her breakup inspired because of her relationship with Ryan. And he started dating Scarlett Johansson 2 months after Alanis and him broke up. But there's rumors that there was overlap on Ryan's part there. So we also had issues. And, we're not just doing the cast today. We're just going to do people that don't really have favorable things to say about him. And, you could argue, well, it's an ex. Yeah, but again, when you consistently have people say things, when he married Alanis is when people started noticing him, in my opinion. That's a good point. That's a good point. That is when he started to get really noticed, was around Alanis. And then he left Alanis, allegedly, for ScarJo. And there's been, now this is not Ashley's, Brianna Eve's opinion. There were some rumors that were basically saying he was kind of like working up the ladder, right? Working up the ladder. ScarJo maybe potentially had more power and worked his way up there, but they were in a relationship. I don't think I had said that they were married. If I did, I apologize, but I don't believe I said that they were married. And here, let's get over to this part.
To people about her self-imposed period of reflection and album making after she and Reynolds separated. She admitted to experiencing her own sort of rock bottom after the personal unraveling of significant relationships. Speaking about the problem.
And then I'm just going to have to pause for those that know about fair use. So she had spoken about all of the issues and she talked about significant relationships at the time. And again, look at the face. There was a lot of rumors at the time that there were a lot of problems behind the scenes between the two of them and people speaking out about their true feelings at that time of what they thought about Ryan.
Process of healing and writing her Reynolds-inspired album, the singer said, "This was a huge critical juncture for me. Everything broke and it was an amazing and horrifying time."
So again, we have Alanis Morissette. Now we're moving on to Wesley Snipes. Let me know if you have seen my content around the problems with Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes. Let me know because we've had so many people. Hello. So nice to see you guys in the chat. We have so much to cover today, my friends. So I apologize if I'm not hanging out in the chat as much, but make sure to hang out with each other. It's such a good group here. I noticed him in Van Wilder, then didn't notice him again until Deadpool. Yeah, Van Wilder was probably the first time I really heard Ryan Reynolds' name, to be honest. And then, yeah, it wasn't really a significant name for me. Okay, so Wesley Snipes. Now, Wesley, of course, is Blade, will forever be Blade. I don't know how you ever replace Wesley as Blade. And he had done the first 2 Blade movies. The third one kind of lines up with issues with Ari Emanuel. So Ari Emanuel had issues with Wesley Snipes. And a year before production of Blade Trinity, Ari Emanuel, now there's a lawsuit. This is all public information. This isn't some source. I'm not getting something like on the DL. Anyone with an internet connection to go on Google and the drive to search it out can find it. Not easy to find, but you can find it. Ari Emanuel had a lawsuit from employees against him. And in that lawsuit, the employee had claimed that she was blocked from, and it was a SH, all kinds of things, the environment of WME, etc. So it wasn't just this, but this came out in the lawsuit, was she was blocked from sending Wesley Snipes a script because, and this is Ari Emanuel's words, blacks don't swim. So there were issues with Ari Emanuel and Wesley Snipes prior. That was, I believe, 2002. Ryan was brought on for Blade Trinity in 2003, I believe, and the timing off the top of my head. And it was known by basically everyone. So if you're old enough to remember this time in the Blade history and mythology, it was basically well known. Wesley Snipes even said it himself, that he was being replaced and that they were trying to replace him with Hannibal King, which was Ryan Reynolds. Now, Ryan was not a part of WME at the time, and he wasn't, from what I can find, connected to Ari Emanuel. Did they know each other behind the scenes? It's very possible. I don't know. It's just interesting how a year prior, there were issues, or it became known, explicitly known, that there were issues between Ari Emanuel and Wesley Snipes. And then a year later, they're setting up a script that effectively was pushing Wesley out and putting Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel to the forefront. Now, there's some interesting quotes that, I mean, there's so much on Wesley and how he was treated, and it's really sad. However, we'll dive into these here because I think it really sets the stage for how Ryan treated Wesley. When IGN asked Reynolds if he had made it his personal goal to crack Snipes. So that was because Wesley Snipes is a method actor, and he basically maintained Blade through the entire filming. And they were kind of poking at him, making fun of him in the press and everything, saying, very similar, funny, actually, now that I think about it, very similar to making fun of someone for cafe gratitude. Very similar for making fun of someone for spirituality and saging. And, it seems very similar. I wonder if Ryan Reynolds has a pattern. I don't know, kind of seems like it, right? So they were making fun of Wesley Snipes in the press and everything, and kind of poking fun at him on set because he would sign everything Blade, and he would pass things off as sticky notes. And they were making fun of him for that. But what a lot of people don't realize in the lead up to these issues on set was what was going on behind the scenes. And I believe I have slides on that. So let's start here and we'll kind of backtrack. So when IGN asked Reynolds if he had made his personal goal to crack Snipes, he admits that he kind of did. Ryan Reynolds said, that being said, yes, I did. You know what? What I found was I just use every moment. There's a moment in the movie where I look at Jessica and I swear to God, I didn't even know the cameras were rolling anymore. And I said, he hates me, doesn't he? And she's like, yeah. I'm just saying this about my relationship as Ryan Reynolds to this guy, and it works. The ad libs are just born of that. There's another one where I do a dime store psychoanalysis of him, where I say, you ever thought about sitting down and talking with someone, getting in touch with your inner child? And also, you might want to try blinking once in a while. He just looked at me like he was going to turn me into ass pulp. According to Reynolds, though, Snipes wouldn't ever take the bait. Being a professional, Blade never once cracked a smile. Ryan Reynolds' response to that Wesley Snipes was a professional and would stay in character, was I don't know if I ever got him to laugh. The guy's Blade. Hopefully on the inside, he's laughing kind of on the inside. I don't know. It was a challenging process. I've never experienced anything like that. We're going to see that again later when we talk about Robert Downey Jr. So here, Ryan Reynolds never experienced something where people didn't think he was funny. Yeah, I loved Wesley Snipes in Blade. He's so good. He is Blade, right? So good. So that was when I have people come up to me on my reels and be like, Wesley was difficult on set. Well, I'm sorry, but yes, if I had, and he calls Ryan Reynolds juvenile. If I had someone treating me like this on set, if I had someone treating me with no respect on how I do my job, and I had no option but to be there, you best believe I would have issues on set too. In fact, I would argue that Wesley Snipes handled it much better than I would have. Because I don't know if you would have gotten me out of my trailer at all. And all they did was complain that Wesley Snipes wouldn't open his eyes. Well, no shit. You got Ryan Reynolds saying this shit and telling you to go heal your inner child. I don't know. As I always say, maybe Ryan and Blake need a mirror in their house. So the whole set was them antagonizing Wesley Snipes. Now, Wesley did. And the reason why I did it in this order is we didn't know about this originally, but Wesley Snipes filed a lawsuit against the creators. A $5 million one for damages. And it was a federal lawsuit. Funny enough, it went nowhere. Although he did get reported to the IRS. Rumor has it, and it's rumor, I can't confirm it, but it's rumor that Ari Emanuel is the one that turned him in. Take it for what you will. I'm not saying that's fact. That's a rumor on the interwebs. So his lawsuit, a suit filed Monday. So this is back in, oh crap, I don't have the date here. Going back quite a ways. In U.S. District Court in Los Angeles, Snipes alleges that the lawsuit was in violation of his contract. That's why he was bringing the lawsuit. And he said that he was supposed to have creative control. That was as an executive producer. He was told he would have some creative control, which he says he did not. They owed him money. He said that they had the supporting cast, which was Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel, forced on him, that he didn't get say in regards to it, that he was harassed and defamed because of his race. And New Line, of course, at the time declined to comment. They never have. But nothing came of this. He had said, it says here, Goyer penned all 3 Blade scripts. According to the complaint, however, Snipes had concerns about him directing the 3rd film in the trilogy and was not informed until 6 weeks before filming began that Goyer would direct. Similarly, he was not given an opportunity to object to the juvenile level of humor in the screenplay and the change in focus from the Blade character to 2 sidekicks. Snipes claimed the real purpose of Blade 3 was to set the stage for spinoffs featuring the other cast members. And again, that was something that was really well known at the time. There is laughing with you and at you. Well said, Glow. I don't think Ryan Reynolds knows the difference. Well said. And that's a great point. Laughing with you is one thing. Laughing at you, absolutely. And I think anyone would be pissed. I mean, I would be livid being treated like this on my franchise. Are you kidding me? The audacity of Ryan to walk in and then people say, well, Ryan had to ad-lib because Wesley Snipes wouldn't say his lines or he's being difficult. Well, when you start to see what was going on behind the scenes, how he was being treated, how he was told or led to believe, and what he believed was that he would have creative control, and then he never had any. He wasn't allowed to even say if this is the direction he wanted the franchise to go. Well, of course he's going to be upset. Ryan Reynolds is following Ari Emanuel's pathway. You allegedly, our opinion only. We'll deal with Ari again. But I do have videos breaking down quite a bit on Ari Emanuel as well. And then what we also saw were a lot of stories leaked around the time that Wesley Snipes had tried to strangle Patton Oswalt on the film of Blade Trinity, or on the filming of Blade Trinity. And it's really interesting. So finally, Snipes had talked to The Guardian. He said, let me tell you one thing. If I had tried to strangle Patton Oswalt had said that Wesley had tried to strangle David. My apologies. He said, let me tell you one thing. If I had tried to strangle David Goyer, you probably wouldn't be talking to me right now, Snipes told The Guardian. A black guy with muscles strangling the director of a movie is going to jail. I guarantee you. Did I go to jail for strangling him? Never happened. And then he went on to say, which is something that I've always wondered. He says, why do people believe this guy's version of the story? Answer me that. Good question. Good question. So Wesley Snipes, in my opinion, a lot of people are saying, well, it's because of him being difficult on the set of Blade or him having gone to jail for the tax issue, that's why he was kind of like outcast from Hollywood. I don't believe that. He had issues with Ari Emanuel leading up to Blade Trinity, and then he didn't go quietly. That's my opinion. And that's the problem is, we even look at, and we tie this back to Justin Baldoni and It Ends With Us. If you don't fall in line and you don't play the game how you're supposed to play the game based on how the powers that be have set the game rules, you get pushed out, you get stepped on, you get destroyed. That's just how it is. It's really like when you start to put it back to back, it's astounding. This is another situation out of the pile of evidence that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are racist, sad, and despicable. And you know what? Here's the thing. Birds of a feather, right? You hang out with someone like Ari and check out my old exposés, but we'll talk about it again later this week and how he treated Terry Crews. How he treated Terry Crews. That's something that's horrific as well. And then we continue with ScarJo. Scarlett Johansson. And, I do wonder sometimes if Ryan Reynolds walks onto the set of Avengers, whose back do they really have? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people know the truth, whether they say it or not. Talking to Cosmos, ScarJo, without naming names, said the logistics of being with another actor are challenging. There has to be a real understanding of how you share your time, especially when two people's careers are going at the same rate, or even if one person is more successful than the other, that also proves challenging. There may be a competitive thing. And I know a lot of people have thought, is this the reason why he also wants to control Blake Lively? That's some of the chatter that I've been hearing. I have no opinion on that. But is that why he's trying to control her? Maybe he doesn't actually want her to be successful because there's a competitive thing there. But when we're looking at 2008 to 2011, there were, with ScarJo, their believed problems started when she got the role in Avengers and Iron Man 2. Interesting. Who does Ryan have a current issue with? I don't know. Robert Downey Jr. allegedly, based on sources and leaks. Interesting timing, right? So the issues with ScarJo happened when she got those big roles. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it has nothing to do with anything. What do I know? Just interesting timing. Let me just see. Riddle me this. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Ari, Harvey, Woody, your friends say a lot about who you are. And I have a whole theory on Harvey as well, because I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm not excusing what he's done. And I do have a theory. My theory that he was kind of thrown to the wolves because this shit it's a cesspool, Hollywood. It's just a cesspool. So it looks like the problem started at that time. ScarJo said, I don't like jealous behavior. I don't mind an occasional check-in, but when somebody is passive aggressively jealous, it's unattractive because it shows an insecurity. Controlling behavior is awful. Nobody is going to say that they love that. She also said dating an actor is volatile and alluded to Ryan, but she didn't want to say his name. She never actually said his name. Alluded to Ryan not wanting her to, Ryan wanting her to be less successful than him. So he had to be the star of the relationship. And again, it's just when you start to look back, and this is just me playing with all the stuff that's publicly available. But when she talks about the jealousy and checking in on set, to me, and let me know what you guys think in the comments, that's not about being more successful than him. Doesn't that kind of feel like, I don't know, in regards to an actor on set, maybe? Potentially? It just, to me, the way she words that constant check-ins. And so Ryan also kept showing up on the set of It Ends With Us. There's pictures of him on the set. So was he checking with Blake? And in any of those check-ins, are there text messages of, hey, Blake, hey, babe, have you been SH today? Have you been treated poorly by Justin today? Because it seems like he has a history of checking in and jealousy that started before It Ends With Us. ScarJo had him pegged. Yeah, he's controlling. Fur babies bingo. Oh my gosh, I love that. Blake isn't nearly as talented as ScarJo for sure. So he doesn't have to worry about being upstaged. And, you know, I've wondered and kind of wondered, did he want a housewife? So maybe there was this fear that potentially, if she got this franchise, that there would be a level of being upstaged. I don't know. Is that also maybe part of the reason why she's not actually Lady Pool? She likes to talk about being Lady Pool. She's not Lady Pool. She's not. A stunt performer is. She is the voice of Lady Pool. But it's interesting because you hear her and Ryan all the time talk about how she was the blueprint for Lady Pool. Well, then why wasn't she actually Lady Pool in the movie? Doesn't make sense to me. So was this a controlling aspect of, you can kind of be in Deadpool and Wolverine. You can kind of be Lady Pool, but you're not actually. You can't actually put the suit on. And I know there were a lot of feelings at the time, and even to this day, of, well, was it a weight thing? Was there some kind of controlling aspect that she wouldn't fill out the suit properly, etc.? Those aren't, I'm not saying that is why. I'm just saying there was a lot of talk around that. But is it even bigger than that? Is it bigger than that? And what the problem was is it's controlling. Well, I'll let you have a little bit of a piece of the pie, but you're not putting on that suit. The closest you can get to that suit is your red outfit at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. Have you heard Versions of Violence by Alanis? She wrote it about Ryan. It's very enlightening and scary. Yes, everyone go listen. After the live stream, after the stream, after you finish watching, go listen. I agree. It's just interesting, right? She qualified for body shaming at that point. Yeah, basically, she qualified for being shamed. It's just interesting to me. When you start to put all the pieces together and then you look at It Ends With Us and Deadpool and Wolverine, you have an opportunity to look at it through a different lens. And to me, it feels more like his issue on the set of It Ends With Us was probably jealousy, checking in around that. But if you're checking in that much, don't tell me you didn't once, if your wife is being horrifically abused on the set, that you didn't once check in and say, are you safe? Is your bodyguard with you? Is he protecting you? Did anything happen today? Do I need to come down there? Like, there's no text messages about that. When he has a history of checking in, it just doesn't add up to me. Then Olivia Wilde, who I've just been rewatching House. Love her in House as well. Ryan Reynolds accused of groping co-star in comedy film. Yep. Ryan Reynolds is the husband of actress Blake Lively, which is an odd, that's an odd title to me. Just a really odd title. Olivia Wilde in 2011, this was the Change Up set. Reynolds joked about the awkwardness and how he had to apologize to Olivia Wilde afterwards. The guy, I know, I love House 2. It's so good. I know they could never do a remake of it, but man, I would just die to see it. See it continue. I loved it. Such a classic. The guy that's going on. So all we've found out so far in the It Ends With Us lawsuit is that the quote unquote evidence that's come out is Justin Baldoni called Blake Lively sexy. Now, she started with those words. She wanted her character to be sexy. So she set the stage for the language used to describe not her, Blake Lively, but Lily Bloom. Blake set the stage of, I want my character to be sexy. She said, the one outfit, it would be sexier if we did it this way. So all we know at this point is that, and what's come out is that he called them sexy allegedly after they had set the stage for that being okay. But Ryan Reynolds can grope Olivia Wilde, and that's okay. That's okay. Thank you for the super chat. Ryan and Blake met their reflection in each other. They are codependent, fuel each other's dysfunction. I agree with that. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot because there is a history of Blake with issues on set. I mean, Penn Badgley and poisoning the cast against him. I agree with you. I think they met their match. They are a reflection. Yes, and check out the merch. I'm going to get the mods all the links. They don't have it yet because I YouTubed how to add mods late last night. So I will get them all the links, but I dropped the link for the merch. It's so much fun. And the feedback has been absolutely incredible. And I have the mug here. I have my I'm a fucking delight hat coming and some of the sweaters. And I've had some questions that the original comms crew. So I have the merch for year one for everyone. We're going to have different merch for each year to show when you came to the channel. You get to wear it proudly that you were here from the beginning. And there's some sizes that are sold out. The company I use is amazing. They got back to me right away and they said they're getting on top of it and hopefully we'll have more stock soon. So keep your eyes open if your size has sold out on something. Okay, so the Deadpool actor joked about accidentally leaving his hand on Olivia Wilde's breast for a brief moment after the director yelled cut. He also bragged about how he accidentally removed the tape that helped cover her breasts. This is the guy that is trying to destroy Justin Baldoni for saying that Lily Bloom's outfit, again, let's remember, two different people, Blake Lively and Lily Bloom, the character, that her outfit looked sexy. I mean, in 2011, Ryan Reynolds threw everyone under the bus for the Green Lantern failure. He blamed the script, saying it was not ready when they started filming. He called out Warner Brothers, saying they rushed the film without a clear direction. And keep in mind, I need like a little bumper that Emily D. Baker has when she's like, my opinion. This is, this is all publicly available. Anyone with an internet connection can find this stuff and the reports on this. He called out Warner Brothers, saying they rushed the film without a clear direction. He criticized the CGI suit, despite VFX artists doing what they were hired to do. Like, literally threw them under the bus. Threw them under the bus. Some of the articles that came out were horrible. Hello, Lily. It's so nice to see you in the chat. Like, threw them under the bus. He joked about, and actually, there was an article later I had found. God knows I'll never be able to find it again, because these are hard to find, some of them. But there was an article later where I think he even like kind of backtracked and apologized for how his comments on the VFX artists and the CGI suit. So he joked about how bad the film was rather than taking responsibility for his role in it. And he used his Deadpool persona to rewrite history, making himself the victim of a bad movie, in my opinion. It was everyone else's fault. He threw everyone under the bus for that one. He said, too much time, too much money. There was just too many people spending too much money. And when there was a problem, rather than say, okay, let's stop spending on special effects and let's think about character, how do we replace this big spectacle thing that isn't working at all with something that's character based? And that just never, the thinking was never there to do that. And to their credit, it's very old school way of looking at things. It's just, let's keep spending our way through this. And it didn't work. And what you're going to see over and over and over again is Ryan Reynolds saved the day. I am starting to wonder, genuinely wonder, I'm not being a smartass saying this, I am starting to wonder if he genuinely in his head believes this. That he genuinely in his head believes that he is constantly saving the scripts and he is saving everything because he knows best. Again, look at Boltneck. You look at some of the articles that came out around Blade Trinity. He was positioned as the hero. He was positioned as, his stellar acting, and he carried the scenes because Wesley Snipes was so difficult. And even here he's saying, if they had just listened to me and made it character-based, i.e. focus on me and what I want to do, which is what we saw in Boltneck as well, all the way back when he first started, well, then things would have been different. It's just incredible. And I'm starting to believe if in his head he just genuinely believes that. I don't think there's any other logical explanation for this. And I guess if you surround yourself in celebrities, people at this level, especially celebrities, public figures, tend to surround themselves with yes men, yes women who are just like pumping them up, pump them up all day. Does he genuinely believe? I agree, because I know best. Yep. Hero complex. Yep. So there was that, and I can't find any problems on the set with Green Lantern. It was really just things he was saying afterwards where he blamed everyone else but him. Now, there was also at that time a lot of, and this is what we're seeing with It Ends With Us as well, right? Ryan and Blake try to rewrite history. Ryan and Blake are trying to say, well, no, everyone loved It Ends With Us. Everyone loved us until Justin Baldoni was paying all these content creators to smear us. And then you look back, and I remember the original, and I didn't pay any mind to it because I didn't know who Justin Baldoni was. I had never read the book It Ends With Us. I had no interest in Blake Lively because I only knew her as Ryan Reynolds' wife and the blonde in the Shark movie. I had no interest in it, but I remember the headlines of people saying she was too old and frumpy. The outfit was frumpy. She looked horrible. It didn't fit when she was originally cast, and pictures were coming out from paparazzi. So they like to rewrite history as well. So fans had said Ryan Reynolds just isn't Hal. So the fans were actually blaming him, saying he was the problem in Reddit, but to Ryan, everyone else was the problem. So critics often pointed Ryan Reynolds' performance as Hal Jordan being too one-dimensional and not capturing the character's depth and heroism effectively, but he blamed everyone else. Here we have, it didn't know what it wanted to be, the movie. Is this humor-driven or character-driven? Is it a superhero movie or a Ryan Reynolds movie masquerading as a superhero movie? And I genuinely believe, in my opinion only, based on what I've seen and researching all of this for so long, is he was probably, throwing his weight around, being a bit difficult. Maybe they made allowances. Maybe he wanted authorship. Maybe he believes he is Deadpool. I wouldn't even be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he makes Blake call him Deadpool at home. I don't know. So I wouldn't be shocked if we know about the troubles on previous sets, dating back to Boltneck, Blade Trinity. I wouldn't be shocked if he has the same playbook as his wife. Maybe she learned it from him, this authorship piece. You get hired as an actor and then you take over everything, which he also did to Deadpool, by the way. So maybe he got on this set and he started throwing his weight around in certain respects. And so the movie didn't know what it wanted to be because they're trying to make him happy, the lead happy, and try to do the vision that they wanted to do. Also sounds a lot like It Ends With Us. The problems that we saw on set there were Justin trying to hold on to some semblance of the vision he had while also trying not to upset Blake Lively. And then you get a mishmash of crap. It sounds like a familiar playbook. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. We always like to know. I like to see where everyone's from. I'm nosy. No, it's a community. I like to hang out with you guys and get to know you better. Congrats to the beautiful new mods. Only the best for our Ashley. I love you. It's such a great community. I am just so blessed. The Bushbirds. It's always a Ryan Reynolds movie to Ryan Reynolds. Is that not the truth? Is that not the truth? We love the Bushbirds. Make sure you go over. I was hanging out on the Bushbirds merch website last night. I was looking at what I want to get from the Bushbirds. I love their merch. It is the best. It is the best. So make sure to shimmy on over. Shimmy on over to the Bushbirds and give them a like because they are absolutely incredible. I just love them to bits. Okay. And I forced my husband to watch. He's not really into pop culture, but I force him to watch too. And last night he was trying to ignore me. I'm like, look, are you not laughing Look it. They're hilarious. All right. So we're seeing that in regards to Ryan Reynolds on Green Lantern again. And then Ryan Reynolds again. He goes, Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood Reporter, which is connected to Ari. Ryan Reynolds on Green Lantern struggles. I didn't read the script first. Yeah. It's safe to say he handled things a bit differently before signing on for Deadpool. He took over Deadpool. That is how he handled it differently. He literally took over Deadpool. That's how he handled it differently. That's his only regret, that he wasn't, allegedly, my opinion only, was not able to take over a Green Lantern. So, it's just, Green Lantern's director reveals one thing he thinks would have made the Ryan Reynolds-led film better, but that's not the only problem. He says, look, and here's, we see this with TJ Miller as well. Everyone is always blowing smoke up Ryan's ass, saying how fantastic he is. No one says anything. Even if they do say something bad, they retract it pretty fast. Look, Ryan's terrific. We actually had a very good time making the movie. Was this written by Ryan? This is, is this similar to the script that Justin Baldoni got to write? It's all us. We're the problem. Ryan is the hero genius. Look, Ryan's terrific. We actually had a very good time making the movie. It was a tough one to make. He and Blake Lively were great to work with. Oh, yeah, I forgot she was in it. See, she's so forgettable. I'm sorry. I totally forgot she was in it. He's always such a witty guy. I think I said this to another writer. I wish he'd written the script. I think he would have done a great job. Honestly, this really could have worked in my opinion. Green Lantern was a pretty standard action movie, but lacked both the comedic chops and the emotional core that has made the Deadpool franchise such a success. If Reynolds had had a bit more creative control of the 2011 blockbuster, perhaps the two projects would have felt more similar. What emotional, okay, you guys have to fill me in the chat. What emotional core does Deadpool have? I genuinely, I need your help. What emotional core does Deadpool have? Who does she play? I don't even know. I think it's love interest, but I don't know the character's name. No, this is about Green Lantern. She was not in Deadpool either, though. She was the voice of Ladypool. She did not ever put on that suit. Black core. That's literally what it is. But yeah, that's one thing that, gets twisted all the time is, sure, she voiced Ladypool, but she is not Ladypool. She never put on the suit. Denzel. Why not? Why not cause problems with Denzel too? But here we are. 2012, Denzel Washington. In 2012, during the promotion of Safe House, Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds discussed an on-set incident where Reynolds accidentally gave Washington a black eye while filming a fight scene. Denzel recounted, I reach over, we're flying around in the car, and just as I was reaching forward, he was flying back, and then pow, he gave me a black eye. Reynolds expressed his embarrassment, noting, I tried to make him feel bad about it. Washington humorously added, I was like, what the F? I've never had a black eye in my life, but I can't say that anymore. And then we have this little clip here, which is one of my favorites of Denzel talking about Ryan.
Have you read the things he said about you?
No.
He said working with Denzel was a sort of a lifetime dream, and he said you're just about the best actor going. And the problem that brought from him working with you was that sometimes when he was in a scene, he would forget to act, and he would sit there and be watching you acting.
Oh, is that what it was?
He would.
I just thought he was terrible. No, I'm kidding.
Denzel just out here saying what we all think. Denzel doesn't give a fuck. Exactly. It's like, I'm Denzel, come for me. It's one of my favorites. I just thought it was terrible. Then we go on to Tim Miller. So this is the Deadpool franchise. Deadpool director Tim Miller says he left the franchise because of Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Denzel jokingly telling the truth. Exactly. So good. Now, Tim Miller says it became clear that Ryan wanted to be in control of the franchise, he said. So again, this is what I'm talking about with Green Lantern. I think the only regret Ryan really has is not having taken over the set, to be quite honest. So Tim Miller says, you can work that way as a director quite successfully, but I can't. I don't mind having a debate, but if I can't win, I don't want to play. And I don't think you can negotiate every creative decision. There's too many to make. So Ryan's the face of the franchise, and he was the most important component of that by far. So if he decides he wants to control it, then he's going to control it. Let me know, does this remind you of anyone? Does this remind you of a current situation where someone is fighting over every single creative thing? I love Michael. We were on the members only chat on Saturday. We pulled up Michael's on Instagram, his spoofs, his skits of Blake Lively's deposition. And at one point, it's like she took over the craft service names in the craft service table, which is probably not far off from the truth. But this is the exact same thing that happened with Blake Lively on this cast, allegedly, of It Ends With Us. She wanted to control the franchise, allegedly. Seems to be what it was. Ryan, there were reports, had tried to buy the second one off of Justin Baldoni. So he says, if some directors can work like that, but if you can't win, I don't want to play. In 2014, Ryan talks about how he leaked Deadpool to further his own agenda. It mysteriously leaked online July 2014, and the overwhelming fan reaction pressured 20th Century Fox into green-lighting the full movie. This is also what Blake did in It Ends With Us. A thread. Look at that. A playbook, maybe. But exact same thing. There is a thing that Blake's doing with Colleen and the cast, other than Justin Baldoni, of course. And she's like, I brought the whole movie. They told me no, but I brought it on a flash drive and we're going to watch it today. So she did the exact same thing. Let me see if I have it marked properly, because I feel like this is the one I had marked improperly, but let's see.
Test footage for the original Deadpool leaked onto the internet. Were you behind the leak?
That's a great question. This is a great question. Pass.
I just want to remind you that you are hooked up to a polygraph machine.
I just want to.
So we'll just have to pause. There was a big controversy. There were a lot of rumors and sources that said it was him at the time.
Remind you that this does not follow the letter of the fucking law. And if I wanted to break out of this room and destroy everything in my path, I will. I would say that what is the question?
And that's okay.
No, that's like Lou wants to. Lou, I'll tell you after though.
Please just answer the question.
Oh, well, for fuck's sake. I mean, I might have provided an assist.
Truthful.
But I was Scottie Pippen. Hey, I was just there doing my job. And
so he leaked it. Again, exact same playbook as Blake Lively. When she brought the movie and she was told no, she was told she couldn't do that, but she brought the movie and she leaked it. And look, I'm not Hugh's biggest fan after all this. I was a huge fan of Hugh Jackman from his early days as Wolverine, but he kind of looks like not impressed. Am I the only one that picks that up, that he doesn't look overly impressed in that? Like almost a forced laugh? I don't know. Yeah, I think it was hard not to. Scottie Pippen should feel insulted for real. I just feel, but he, again, like Isabel Ferrer, made his bed. You side with people that are shady, that you don't like because, maybe allegedly you feel they can do something for your career that's beneficial for you. That's your adults. You can own up to that. This is someone I was asked about in my DMs over the weekend. We did talk about Jake Gyllenhaal earlier this year. It is still really murky about what happened. But 2016, that was like unknown the exact time that Ryan and Jake stopped being friends, but they were like besties. They were always in each other's Instagram pictures, joking back and forth. And then all of a sudden, no.
We know you have an ongoing feud with Ryan. Who? That guy. What's it going to take?
Did you hear that? Who? Yeah.
I can't do it.
Any words for Ryan, seeing as the next time we talk to him, he will be seeing that?
I have nothing to say to him.
Yeah. This is after they were besties. And again, no one knows for sure what the fallout was, but there was a lot of chatter. There were some people saying, could Taylor be behind the fallout between Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds? No one really knows for sure, but he wasn't joking there. He wasn't joking. They need to be the center of attention for both of them. The need to be the center of attention for both of them is astounding. And I say anyone who has a brighter shine. Well said. Well said. And thank you for the super chat. I just love this community, and the support is just still blows my mind, to be quite honest. It still absolutely blows my mind. So we have a couple screenshots here. Van City Reynolds. So that's Ryan Reynolds' Instagram. He has this post here, happy best friend day to Jake Gyllenhaal, not pictured. And then he has this one here. This is Hugh Jackman, which is them like Hugh, Jake, and Ryan joking back and forth about being besties. It's that same, like, what did Blake call it in the text messages to Justin? Oh, the ping pong ball back and forth banter. That same ping pong ball back and forth banter that they had on Instagram. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. Now, this person is a controversial. I'm going to make sure I'm very clear on this, that there is a lot of controversy over Rebecca and who she was speaking about. You get people that are like, she's definitely speaking about Ryan. And could that have been the issues or start of the issues? Because look at Jake Gyllenhaal and Rebecca, and look at Ryan over here. Gotta be the star. It reminds me of Blake Lively with Isabel Ferrer in their interviews, where she always had to be talking. Poor Isabel was just sitting there like tuning out. So some people go to this picture. Jake's face just kills me. That's the face I make when I am just like, gotta be fucking kidding me. That is the face I make. If I'm ever in a group of people and I make this face, you can probably guess that the person talking I have an issue with. But that's them. They're together. Ryan's there. And this is kind of what sparked that maybe this is who she was talking about because of the pictures at this event. It just looked like Jake and Rebecca were very separate than Ryan. But she says this here.
When do you think you've been proudest of using your own voice?
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. And this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got
insecure. Where'd we hear that word? From ScarJo.
Screamed at. And I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, you call yourself an actor. This is what I have to work with. What is this? And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had.
So that's where a lot of people say it couldn't have been Ryan because he wasn't number one on the call sheet on this movie, Life, in 2017. So there's a lot of back and forth. At the very least, the images of them promoting the movie, there's a lot that make you go, See, I agree. She's definitely talking about Ryan Reynolds. I've always felt that as well. She has never confirmed. She has denied some people and said, no, that's not who it was. I can't remember who off the top of my head she had denied, but there was a couple people she's denied that it was about, but she's never denied it about Ryan. Then Miranda. We have an updated interview with her that we will also play a clip from that she just did 3 weeks ago with the best Lex Luthor that ever Lex Luthered. Who's a fan of Smallville? So you can't, I'm sorry, you can't, there's no Lex Luthor that's going to ever replace Smallville. Anyway, 2018, Deadpool. Miranda, she was isolated on the red carpet. She was really cut out of Deadpool. And what's come out recently, we'll probably put priority because I think we're already going on an hour. Yeah, we'll probably skip ahead to the most recent interview because I play these clips on the older videos. She talks about the set being problematic. She does not say it's Deadpool, but it's just very interesting. And in this interview as well, where she talks about saying positive things about Ryan Reynolds, she's shaking her head no, which typically is a deception indicator. So if someone's saying something positive, but they're shaking their head no, that's a deception indicator. So it tends to show that subconsciously it's like you're not in agreement with what you're saying. And we do see that in the interview when she's saying nice things about Ryan. There were rumors of her and Ryan having had disagreements on set, and she was isolated on the red carpet. There's a picture of the cast. Does this again remind you of anything? Tom Welling as well. Yes. It's just astounding to me when you start to put all the pieces in place, looking back on what we know now with It Ends With Us. And here's the thing. This is why I didn't know who Justin Baldoni was at the start of this. I had no idea who he was. I had never seen Jane the Virgin, never heard of the Man Enough podcast. In fact, the Man Enough podcast, to be honest, isn't really my jam. I like a lot of what he says, but just the premise there, some of the spirituality words really aren't my jam. So I never had listened to the Man Enough podcast. And I say that because I wasn't some Justin stan that came in and was just going scorched earth on anyone that might have said something against him. I had no idea who he was. And a lot of the Blake bots or supporters of Blake and Ryan are saying, oh, you've got to be paid. You're just a Justin Baldoni fan. No, I just am someone, especially from my history working in PR, that likes to look at pieces and put pieces together. And maybe people that are still supporting Blake and Ryan and accusing anyone that supports Justin of just being like stans of Justin Baldoni should look at it as maybe people are just sick of shit like this. The games that are played, the narrative control, the media manipulation, the power and money and connections that ruin lives. Because this isn't exclusive to Ryan and Blake. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ryan and Blake are the core root rotten center of Hollywood. No, not at all. But they're shining a light on it. Love your deep dives on Ryan. Do more, please. I can certainly do more. And thank you for the super chat. All of the super chats go directly to supporting our farm animal sanctuary. So the animals appreciate you guys. We've got no rain this year, so bills definitely went up because we didn't really have grass to feed the animals. So I appreciate it. Now, looking back at what happened on It Ends With Us, where Justin Baldoni was basically put in the basement. He wasn't included in anything for the cast. Well, look at her. She was alone, totally alone on the Deadpool and Wolverine red carpet. Here's your pictures with the whole cast. She's never in any of them. Let's see.
Go
to 114.
He's really funny and just really dedicated to this project. And so it's really, really fun to come up with things and play and riff and have a great time. And he's really, really focused.
See that it's really fun. The deception indicator shaking her head back and forth. It's also, like riffing and ad-libbing and all this crap. Like everyone's got to follow Ryan's lead.
And it helps because you're able to get a lot of work done quickly, but you're having fun while you're doing it.
But watch what we see here.
Have you ever had a real lousy time on set where you're just like, I don't really,
Yes.
What do you do? I mean, was it to the point where you didn't like the director? You didn't like the atmosphere? It was unhealthy?
Yes.
It's interesting as well. This was only 3 weeks ago. I don't think I have the date of the original interview, but I genuinely feel, and this is my own impression. I don't know Morena. She's not a friend of mine. I didn't message her. I genuinely feel that with what's coming out and a lot more people speaking up, it appears that she's feeling a bit more comfortable in speaking up. That's what it appears to me as an outsider. Let me know what you guys think.
What did you do? How did you get through it?
So in the beginning, I sucked it up and I was like, I am an adult. I'm a professional. I showed up on time. I did my job. I was nice to everybody. I even had a little fun. And I was like, you know what? This is temporary. It's all good. It's going to be great. And
so we do have to pause a lot just for fair use. So again, and watch the original. So I put the videos under Exposés of Hollywood, I think is the new playlist title. We have about 4. I mean, you can spend literally the rest of your day watching videos exposing Ari Emanuel and Ryan Reynolds if you so wish. We play more of her videos from the older interviews on that older video, on that older expose, but watch the shift up until 3 weeks ago.
As the weeks and months went by and it wore away at me and people started behaving badly and things started to kind of slip.
Yeah.
And the people I was working with started to behave badly, and I started to get the brunt of their anger and their insecurity, and their crap was directed at me. I, for the first time in my career, this happened last year, I stood up for myself.
So I wonder, sorry, I have like a dog hair in my eyeball. I wonder if that's why she was blacklisted. Why is that? Why she got cast to the side further and further, exiled from the cast of Deadpool and Wolverine? I mean, she is stunningly beautiful, incredible in the role. There's no good excuse on why he cut back her character, why she was outcast. And I haven't heard from anyone that she is a problematic person on set. There is nothing bad that's ever, from what I have found, I've tried to find things, that she's a problematic person on set. Thank you so much, a little for your animal friends. Thank you for being here and for the support. I appreciate you guys so much. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate each of you.
Good.
And I said, enough. And I let them have it. And I've never done that before on a set.
Wow.
I've always been extremely professional, and I've never lost my temper or screamed at anybody ever in my entire career.
I don't know. Does it start to make more sense when you look at everything? Let me know what you guys think. When you start to look at this all back to back to back to back to back, what are your thoughts on that? Because that's essentially what happened with Wesley Snipes too. He eventually lost it and was like, screw y'all. But instead of yelling at everyone on set, which don't get me wrong, I would have yelled too. I'm not saying Marina shouldn't have done that. Good for her. Good on her. All of these people have handled it much better than I would have. Wesley just wouldn't engage with it. But all of these people are problems, but except for Ryan Reynolds, she stood up for herself. Finally, yes. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the support. I love you guys.
And I did.
I'm so mad.
And I was actually traumatized by it. I felt really bad about it. But when I think about it now, I have no regrets, and I'm really proud of myself, and I didn't do anything wrong. And to the point where,
and that's a piece of it too, is just like going through that trauma of being pushed to your limits to the point where you explode. And it's that it's against who you are or who you believe yourself to be, and you explode in that trauma. And she's working through it of, I didn't do anything wrong. I stood up for myself.
these people apologized to me. My agent called and spoke to them and ripped them a new one. And, in fact, my agent, who has been my agent for most of my career, said, I've never gotten a phone call from her this upset ever on any job. So whatever happened over there is 100% not her fault.
Again, unproblematic people that suddenly are at their breaking point. And I'm not saying everyone Ryan's had issues with doesn't have a past, but it's just this ticking time bomb on the set with him.
And so it was a really big learning experience. It shook me. And I realized what shook me was that you put so much trust and you're so vulnerable on set when you're acting, and when you're showing yourself and you're shedding your boundaries in front of people.
And I don't want to play the whole thing. Definitely, let me see if I can find the link for you guys so that you can watch the whole. Marina, I'll grab the link. It's inside of you clips. We might watch just a tad more, but I'll get you guys the link. There you go. So I believe she also, I don't know if it's in this clip or in the main one, she talks about how basically she was the only woman on set or the main female on set, and they were treating her like their mom, basically. Like she would not necessarily treating her like she was the mom, but she had to like round up the ducks. You know what I mean? Like she was the one that had to keep everyone in line, and that wasn't her job. And she, I don't know if she called it a juvenile set or just described it as very juvenile behavior. Where did we hear that? That's the same shit that Wesley Snipes said about working with Ryan Reynolds on set. So again, you know, I'm very much of the mindset that people mess up. We are all very flawed as human beings. We are not perfect. We are going to let people down. And when you see a playbook start to emerge like this over time, it's not a one-off. It's a consistent set of behaviors that has also been upheld and supported by the powers of that be in Hollywood. Thank you so much for Ashley's fur babies. You have the best mama. Aw, I will let them know that. Thank you so much.
Happening, and it escalated to the point where you finally just had it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's happened to me a couple of times.
And they go into it a little bit more, but definitely go to the clip and catch the full interview. Now, we also have TJ Miller in 2022. Guys, we're still going. An hour and 11 minutes in. Also, if you're spiritual and you believe in angel numbers, 1111. We're an hour and 11 minutes in, and we still have a ways to go. We're not done yet. All right. TJ Miller is someone I've spoken a lot about because it plays out very similar to, again, Justin Baldoni. Because TJ Miller did actually speak out about Ryan. And then he got an email, I think it was an email from Ryan Reynolds, and was probably given a script to say, took it back, blamed himself, and said, you know, it's my fault. Ryan apologized. It wasn't on Ryan. I don't think before I speak, is essentially what he was saying. But let's play this.
I think
It's at
if he is talking or acting.
Accurate.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I think, but he's such.
See, you don't know if he's talking or acting. And this is why when I start to hear how people describe Ryan on set, why it makes sense to me that there may have been issues with Robert Downey Jr. because this seems to be a pattern.
A good comedian that when you cover his face, he's so quick, he's so funny. So I love him as a comedian. But I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed. I think he was like, see, you guys see. And then I think
and we can see now looking at his full history that was an issue all along.
I don't know. I mean, would I work with him again? No.
No,
I would not work with him
that
again.
much vitriol.
But I've said that about Michael Bay, and now we're friends, and I would work with him again. But I think Michael Bay is different.
Where does he talk? Is it the start? Let me see. I must not have time-stamped the part where he talks about what Ryan did to him.
Me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him hating me. But I said on Hot Ones, I went on Hot Ones, and I said that, you know, what was great about Deadpool is they covered up his handsome face because he's so distracting. He must know this, but it's.
Oh man, sorry guys, I missed the right point to timestamp it at. But what happened is basically Ryan as Deadpool was making fun of TJ Miller and was saying, you know, the good thing about you as Weasel, so he's Weasel in Deadpool, is you do just enough, like you show up, you do your lines, but you're not the main guy. Like, you know, I'm the main guy, you're basically nothing. So he starts being rude and irate at TJ Miller, ripping him apart. It was an extra, TJ had agreed to one more shot, ripping TJ apart, just ad-libbing, making up things as he goes. And TJ had said he was horrifically mean to him. Then afterwards, TJ Miller had done an interview and he came out and he said, you know, I just wanted to clear it up. Ryan reached out. He sent me this email and it was all a big misunderstanding. And TJ Miller says, I was the problem. I tend to say things without thinking. And, you know, Ryan's a nice guy and I would work with him again. It's just wild. Let's see. I want to see if I can find it for you guys. Let's just play for a minute and see if we can find it.
And then girls don't really want to laugh. Conversation with me and Bay, but I sort of wish him well because he's so good at Dead also, and so he has a very specific opinion.
That may mirror
of
your
Ryan
own.
Reynolds, and
Oh yeah, I forgot about that piece.
so he has a very specific opinion.
Michael Bay.
That may
Michael Bay.
mirror
of
your
Ryan
own.
Reynolds, and that was a good part of our last conversation with me and Bay. But
So a good part of his last conversation between TJ Miller with Michael Bay was talking about basically, if we believe what he's saying, how horrible of a person Ryan Reynolds is. Yes, he was ripping on, yes, thank you for clarifying. Ripping on TJ, not TJ's character, but Ryan was in character. He was pretending, kind of hiding behind Deadpool to rip a new one into TJ. And like playing, oh, it's just funny. I'm just in the role. Well, where did he do that again? In Blade, Trinity, where he was ripping in a Wesley, but it was like, oh, it's in the role. I'm just ad-libbing. Where else did that happen? Right? Like this is something that he's done consistently. And now allegedly on the set, it's all alleged at this point. I mean, the source did say it was Ryan and Robert Downey Jr. And there's blind items that are coming out. That's the two of them. Kind of fits Ryan's playbook. But now allegedly on the set of Avengers Doomsday, Ryan Reynolds was making inappropriate jokes towards Robert Downey Jr. That's who we're going to speak about next. Their issues go back. Like this is 2024. We have issues, 2019. Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds are making headlines right now because allegedly, like I was saying, there was that fight on the Avengers Doomsday. Now, Marvel has not at any point confirmed that Ryan Reynolds was in it. I almost feel like if he was going to be in it, it was supposed to be a surprise, but Ryan Reynolds could not hold the surprise and released it on his Instagram by putting the Anarchy A over the Avengers A. And so everyone went wild and was like, he's in the movie. Now, it goes back. There's this. It was supposed to be funny. Ryan Reynolds eats. It's a cookie. Robert Downey Jr. in Silly Superhero Fantasy Football League Challenge. Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr. are facing off this week in their fantasy football league and playfully trying to psych each other out. November 1st, 2019. And, you know, it could be a joke. For sure, it could be a joke. It's just weird when you consistently see these jokes actually his way of expressing how he actually feels about people. Even if you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, the jokes he made about Justin Baldoni, it's consistently, or how he treated TJ, pretending to be the character, but actually ripping into TJ. He continually hides behind either a character or jokes to let his true feelings out. And Ryan has no one to blame but himself for people feeling that way. When I saw this video of Ryan eating RDJ, it felt like a threat. A lot of people have said that. And people had said that before all of this drama too. Then we have the not rumors, because it was actually said in an interview. Deadpool and Wolverine writers say Robert Downey Jr. turned down Iron Man cameo and the Avengers scene that didn't happen. Robert Downey Jr. was Ryan wrote a scene for Robert Downey Jr. in Deadpool and Wolverine, pitched it to Robert Downey Jr. Legend goes, Ryan was very excited about it. He really wanted him to be in it with Jon Favreau for that scene and was kind of like giving a hard push to get Robert in it. Robert Downey Jr.'s, and again, as this legend goes, Robert Downey Jr.'s original reason for not being in it, he said, was because he had other obligations. Apparently, it turned out it was going to be Dr. Doom. But in interviews that came out afterwards, fans in the Marvel Universe had said it sounds like he actually had issues with Ryan Reynolds. There was then a Medium article that came out, and that was March 11th, 2025, where it says Robert Downey Jr. reveals Blake and Ryan try to set him up like Justin Baldoni. But what we're seeing here in this setup of like, honestly, in my mind, who does Ryan think he is? If I'm going to be quite honest, anyone making money, I'm just going to say it. Anyone making money off the Marvel universe, actors, staff, what crew, has Robert Downey Jr. to thank. Period. I'll fight you on it. I will fight you on that because Robert Downey Jr. built it off his own back with Iron Man. So the fact that this quote, when there was this interview talking about how Ryan really wanted Robert Downey Jr. and Deadpool and Wolverine, Wernick noted, behind the scenes, we didn't know about Dr. Doom, and there's no way he was going to do both. And then we said, oh, Downey doesn't say no to Ryan Reynolds, does he? No one says no to Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan gave him the hard press. We wrote scenes, he read the scenes, but what we didn't know behind the scenes was the Dr. Doom thing. And again, it came out later, allegedly based on different articles, based on people taking what Robert Downey Jr. has said in interviews and starting to look at the pieces. And then the Medium article that came out March 11, 2025, that it seems as though Robert Downey Jr. had Ryan Reynolds' number and wanted nothing to do with it. Basically, is what it comes down to, in my opinion. That was my thought. Who the fuck does he think he is? Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. And he's basically the Marvel universe. So much so that when they killed off his character, they had to beg him to come back to save Marvel. Which was just like devastating for anyone that's Marvel fans to have seen that happen. But, you know, they begged him to come back. So the fact that anyone had the audacity to say that Robert Downey Jr. cannot say no to Ryan Reynolds blows my mind. Robert Downey Jr. clocked the psycho. That's what it seems like. Because again, and we read the Medium article in a previous stream, it comes across from what everyone's putting the pieces together that Robert Downey Jr. saw the red flags and just didn't want anything to do with it. And then we have the newest issues with Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds, which is reportedly feuding on the Avengers set, the Doomsday set. The blind items and the sources that are coming out are saying apparently, allegedly, again, I don't know if this is actually what the problem was, but it does not surprise me that Ryan Reynolds did a cheap joke and Robert Downey Jr. did not find it funny. The rumors are Robert Downey Jr. had allegedly made a joke about Ryan Reynolds had made a joke about Robert Downey Jr.'s wife. And that's what sparked issues. And again, we see over and over and over again that Ryan thinks he's freaking hilarious and can't understand why people don't think he's funny. But there are a lot of rumors there's been that clash on set between the two of them. It says two prominent stars, believed to be Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr., and it's starting to gain traction. It says reports suggest an ego clash and a heated confrontation disrupted filming with tensions rising over reshoots and an ill-timed joke. I don't know. If we're going to look at someone that makes ill-timed jokes and inappropriate jokes and treats people horribly, it's really not a stretch for me to believe it was Ryan Reynolds. And again, here's the thing. Ryan has no one to blame but himself that people feel this way and that people connect him immediately with problems on set over someone being a smartass, because that's his reputation. That's what he's done. He really has no one to blame but himself. And then we come to Justin Baldoni. Robert Downey Jr. is actually funny. Exactly. Ryan Reynolds, not funny at all. That is true. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. So then we get into, and you guys, I'm sure everyone here knows, the issues with Justin Baldoni and everything that they did. We see the first touching point with the text messages, and this will burn holes in my eyeballs and my soul to read this. And we've read all the text messages in the past, but there was that original touch point with Justin Baldoni towards Ryan Reynolds. He was very nice towards Ryan. He seemed almost a little bit starstruck, to be honest, and gracious that Blake was being nice to his wife. And so he wanted to reach out and have a connection with Ryan as well. And then this is where I believe Ryan starts to, love bomb him and then talk about how the filming has to be changed already. And then talk something about his perineum, having something tattooed on his perineum if Justin's willing to delay the shoot. It was all just a very odd exchange. But essentially, overall, they're sharing mutual respect, Justin Baldoni and Ryan Reynolds. So April 12th, 2023, Baldoni meets with Lively at her apartment in New York. He's greeted by Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, who enthusiastically praises Blake Lively's rewrites of the rooftop scene. The crazy part of all of this, as you guys probably know, is everyone, Taylor allegedly and Ryan Reynolds, are praising his rewrite of or Blake Lively's rewrite of the rooftop scene. And then later on, Blake lets everyone know that it was actually Ryan Reynolds that wrote the rooftop scene during the writer's strike. So I don't know why, other than being manipulative, and that's really all it was, because there's no way they would have got that scene rewritten if at that meeting, Ryan Reynolds is like, yeah, I rewrote the scene. Do you want to use it? That would have gone over like a lead balloon. So Taylor and Ryan and Taylor, whether she knew Blake wrote it or not, I have no idea. But the two of them, as the story goes, had both been putting kind of pressure on Justin Baldoni because of Blake's incredible writing of the rooftop scene. And then further than that, that also led to that voice note from Justin Baldoni to Blake Lively apologizing and saying, look, like, your writing's great. I feel bad that, you don't feel heard. I want you to feel heard on the set. All the gaslighting started over this damn scene that they just destroyed. I agree. That rooftop scene sucked. It sounded like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively going back and forth on Instagram. It was horrible. Atrocious. And I had never read the book, wasn't a fan of the book, but I know a lot of my friends that read the book had said like they destroyed it. And that was apparently like a legendary scene that they really had to nail, and they didn't. Yeah, he rewrote the scene with no consideration of the actual scriptwriter, who found out on the red carpet that he had written that scene. It is wild. It's wild. And then we also have another meeting where even Sony execs had said they had never heard someone yell. It was Ryan Reynolds screaming at Justin Baldoni, had never heard someone yell at another person like that or treat another person like that. And that was allegedly over the weight comment where Justin Baldoni asked how much Blake Lively weighed, which is all just because of his back. I have back issues. You definitely have to know weight that you're picking up. So April 14th, 2023, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively text about script changes and enhancing dialogue for the role of Lily Bloom's mother, Jenny Bloom. Baldoni conveys he's happy for Lively to share her notes, but ultimately wants to run any changes by the scriptwriter out of respect. Justin has something called a little respect for others. Blake Lively apparently agrees. In the wake of the meeting 2 days earlier, in the presence of Ryan Reynolds and their mega celebrity friend is what it was referred to, which we all know is Taylor Swift now. Lively describes them as her dragons in the lengthy text to follow. So he feels obliged to text Lively saying that he liked her pages, hadn't needed, you didn't need Ryan Reynolds. You didn't need Taylor Swift to pressure me. I liked what you had to say. At this point, honestly, I think Justin Baldoni was just so worn down. He was trying to figure out a way to get this done. He also acknowledges the text message about her dragons, apologizes for not responding right away, and he promises to send her a more thoughtful voice note later that evening when he gets home from his plans. It's just horrible to see all this go down. April 25th, 2023, Justin was summoned by Lively to her penthouse and greeted by Reynolds, who swore at Justin Baldoni and accused him of fat shaming his wife. Yep. Which asking the personal trainer how much she weighs is not fat shaming. The tone from Reynolds and Lively was so aggressive that Justin Baldoni felt he had no choice but to offer repeated and completely, and this is copy pasted from the lawsuitinfo.com timeline of events. The tone from Reynolds and Lively was so aggressive that Baldoni felt he had no choice but to offer repeated and completely unwarranted apologies for what was a good faith and reasonable question to his trainer. He didn't even bring it to Blake Lively. Reynolds demanded that Baldoni remove the lift scene entirely. In Lively's complaint, she falsely states that the scene wasn't even in the film, suggesting it never existed. Contrary to her attempt to manipulate verifiable facts, the only reason the scene was not in the film is that Lively and Reynolds demanded it be removed, despite the fact that it had already been rehearsed with a stunt double. Accommodating Lively, Baldoni rewrote the scene with her despite the fact that for creative reasons, he felt the scene was necessary. This is, guys, this is the playbook. Can you see, like, I know you guys can see I'm being a little bit like facetious. Can you see the threat of him taking creative control over everything? Why does Ryan Reynolds have a say on if this scene happens or not? Why is he allowed to say you can or cannot have this scene? It is absolutely absurd. It's like Emily Baldoni showing up on Deadpool and Wolverine set. I mean, like, you can't have, well, damn it. I mean, there's a lot they could have said shouldn't be on that movie, but you know what I mean. Demanding they have script changes. Where does Ryan get off that he gets to show up on the set and just tell Justin Baldoni you're rewriting scenes? And then for people that support Blake and Ryan to go on and say, what? They weren't trying to control the set. They weren't trying to take over. Are you kidding me? What do you call this then? June 20th to 24th, 2024, Abel, Baldoni's publicist, emailed Sony's marketing team to inquire about a content shoot that Lively seemingly coordinated with Maximum Effort, Ryan Reynolds' production company. Sony, at the time of the initial outreach by Abel, was not aware of the plans for the shoot, which were planned for June 27th to 28th. Later, Sony attested to the fact that Lively and Maximum Effort were running the show. Why is Blake Lively and Maximum Effort running the show? And Ryan Reynolds is Maximum Effort, let's be honest. Abel was understandably concerned at the optics of the entire cast doing a content shoot without the director and co-lead being present. This would later be something that the public would take notice of as well and heighten the rumor and negative press that Lively would take issue with. So again, what I'm hoping to show is just the issues that have been around since Boltneck. Since he was literally a nobody. And then along the way, he's just been emboldened and supported, allegedly, my opinion from tracking all this, by people like Ari Emanuel to continue this game. Oh my goodness, we have 700 watching, but only 312 likes? Guys, it takes 2 seconds and doesn't hurt your hand to just click like. We need to support our content creators. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Please tippy tap. I love it. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, guys, that's the easiest way to support the channel, and it doesn't cost a thing. So this is the email that was included in the timeline of events. It says, hi, nice to see you too. So this is from Sony to Jen Abel. For the screenings, will you just let us know when you have each journal's availability for the latest? They could see it, and then we can try to get other folks into that screening as well. For the content, Blake and Maximum Effort are really running the show. We know it's Thursday and Friday, but Blake has been talking to talent and Maximum Effort is leading the planning. I'm not flying out for it either. But wait, didn't Blake Lively try to play off that I was just taking orders from Sony guys? It wasn't me. I'm not the one that came up with grab your friends and florals. I'm not the one that came up with this tone deaf marketing. I was just following orders. Well, no, we actually have proof that you and Maximum Effort, Blake, were running the show and that Sony had relinquished control to you. June 28th, 2024, Lively and Reynolds' company Maximum Effort organized a content shoot for the film's promotional campaign with the entire cast and author of the book, minus Justin Baldoni, of course. The content shoot included the cast making flower arrangements, baking cookies, playing Pictionary, collage making, and other concepts developed by the Maximum Effort team in support of the film's promotion. They later posed for seemingly staged paparazzi photos before having dinner together. The audacity for Pictionary to be the concept you come up with for a DV movie, not even taking into consideration the horrific script or little skit that Hugh Jackman, or was Hugh Jackman there? or no, it was Brendan Sklenar, Ryan Reynolds, his mom, and I think Hugh Jackman, that horrific little skit they did. I mean, well, that is inexcusable, completely inexcusable. How Ryan or Blake can sit here with a straight face and say, I have no idea why I've had the backlash I've had when they've done marketing like that. Again, delusional. Look at Green Lantern. It was everyone else's fault the movie didn't do well. I've laid it out for y'all. I've laid it out. I'm not telling you what to think. You can think whatever you want based on everything we put together. And this is the closest Blake was allowed to get to wearing the Deadpool or the Lady Pool outfit. He let her wear a red bodysuit to the premiere, but she was never allowed to actually be Lady Pool because she's not. And I actually feel bad for her in that sense. I'm going to be honest. I genuinely feel bad for her. How embarrassing, genuinely, how embarrassing for you to be set up to be Lady Pool and you're not actually. You're only the voice. That's embarrassing. I feel bad. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I thought he was. Hugh Jackman was in that weird skit. Yeah. It's just the whole thing. Then June 2nd, 2024, on a Zoom video conference between Wayfair and Sony Marketing, Wayfair learned that Sony had been dealing with extensive notes and revisions to the marketing plan as a result of the content shoot because Sony ended up hiring Reynolds' company Maximum Effort to produce the promotional content for the film. The cost for the shoot significantly increased due to the fee being higher than what Sony had originally budgeted. And here's the text. I'm going to have to kind of zoom through the rest of this because I do have an appointment at 1. Was not expecting to talk this long. Blake Lively, but all is led by me, Ryan, and redacted. So we'll make sure we weed out any lame ideas. Blake Lively, they don't need to hire. Justin Baldoni, part of why I don't want to die on this hill. Blake Lively, it's me and Ryan and redacted. We work for free for the family. Blake Lively, it's mafia style on this. So Blake was the one that was in charge of all of the marketing with Ryan because Ryan is Maximum Effort. Don't get it confused. I know you guys aren't, but don't get it confused. Ryan is Maximum Effort. Wayfair Marketing. Hi, here is a summary of what was shared during the bi-weekly with the digital and social team. The creative team has been dealing with extensive revisions based on the feedback from Blake. There are multiple pieces being finalized, including character pieces and get ticket assets. Ryan's agency, Maximum Effort, is producing content, some of which will roll out on his handle. There are shoots with 3 creators and the rest of the cast. Sony did not have much opportunity to be involved. June 15th, 2024. We then know that Ryan had taken even more authorship over everything by reaching out to WME and calling Justin Baldoni a deranged predator. Yep. Ryan's just taking more authorship over everything. Baldoni's agent relays to Wayfair that he did his best to reason with Reynolds and challenge the absurd claims, but Reynolds was unwilling to consider any counter narrative. Reynolds reiterated that Baldoni should not attend the premiere on August 6th, stating no one wants him there. When Baldoni's agent shares this conversation with Baldoni and Heath, both are disturbed by Reynolds' continued efforts to damage Baldoni's reputation within the agency. July 17th, 2024. That's Baldoni attends Lily Bloom's pop-up shop at Westfield Century City to promote the film. This is where Abel shares that Justin Baldoni is struggling and under immense pressure. Moreover, Baldoni is dealing with Ryan Reynolds calling Baldoni's agent and saying what a horrible person Justin is. July 22nd, 2024, Lively, Reynolds, and other members of the film's cast attend the premiere for Deadpool and Wolverine. At the after party, Wayfair was informed that Reynolds approached a senior executive at WME and expressed his deep disdain for Baldoni, going as far to suggest that the agency is working with a sexual predator. WME is also the agency where one of their top agents SA'd Terry Crews, and Ari Emanuel tried to brush it under the rug and basically told Terry Crews if he, not basically, he did, if he dropped it, he would give him leading man roles and he could be in the Expendables 4. So there's that. Ari Emanuel had an SAer as a top agent, and instead of protecting the victim, Terry Crews protected the agent. And eventually the person was fired, but that took a lot for Terry Crews to get to that point. July 22nd, 2024. This is Lively, Reynolds, and other members of the film's cast attend the premiere for Deadpool versus Wolverine. At the after party, Wayfair was informed that Reynolds approached a senior. Oh, we already got that. We already did that. And then Ryan in his own words. Let's just hear Ryan in his own words, because I'm not going to tell you what to think. You guys can put together all those pieces of everything we looked at today and decide for yourself what kind of person Ryan is. But let's see this.
I'm in love with your wife.
Oh, wonderful. Me too.
She's just delightful.
She really is.
It's obviously a very complex film. What drew you to the dark side with this one?
Oh, shoot. I didn't mark it. There we go.
But I love how the film touches on good and evil. What is the worst thing Ryan Reynolds has ever done?
Gosh, the worst thing I've ever done. Wow, what a question. Okay, well, I mean, as if any actor is going to tell you that. They're like,
Actress, not actress. All the categories united.
I could just think of so many actors I know right now that have like done horrible things. And by them, I mean me.
I could think of so many actors that have done so many horrible things. And by them, I mean me. And again, I don't think anyone is without fault. Everyone has faults. No one's perfect. It's just whatever is going on for Ryan, whatever piece of him he needs to heal, it's obviously being taken out on everyone around him. And unfortunately, in an industry like Hollywood, he's surrounded himself by very powerful people that have only emboldened him and given him the support that he needed to become who he is now. At least he's honest. Yeah, exactly. At least he's honest. Hello from Kitchener. Oh my goodness. Another Ontario friend. Hello. I'm in Ontario as well. Out of his own mouth. Yeah. I can think of all these actors that have done all these terrible things. And by them, I mean me. So that's what I wanted to show you guys today. And we went way over, almost 2 hours. I have an appointment that I have to run to, but what do you guys think? Let me know what you think in the chat. I'll be honest. I really struggle with characters like and individuals like Ryan because I genuinely feel bad for people that live like this, for people that live their lives where other people are just transactional, it appears, where you'll do whatever it takes to get ahead. And it doesn't matter who is stepped on. It doesn't matter who is left in your wake. It doesn't matter how you treat people as long as you get what you want. And I genuinely feel bad for people like this. I worked as a counselor for many years. I mean, I genuinely feel bad for people like this. And yet, for adults, you are an adult. You can get help. You can heal. You can look at your behaviors every single day, every single moment, every single second of every single day as an opportunity to do better, to be better, to change the course of your life. And he continuously seems to choose to continue doing evil things to people, to have and gain more power and control and money. And that's, my opinion based on what I've seen. It's just, it just makes me sad overall, because I genuinely do not believe that people that act like this and do this are genuinely happy. Money and power itself doesn't make you happy. And it's typically, and having worked in the branding, marketing, PR businesses and working with public figures and everything, I met a lot of people that have what you would perceive to be everything and are very unhappy people and are miserable. And some get off that hamster wheel, some don't. Some want to, and they internally struggle with it so much because they know they're not doing what feels good for them. They know they're not happy, but they just can't. Like, it's an addiction almost to the power. It's an addiction to like that money and the control. But I genuinely feel bad. And I know a lot of people will be upset with me for saying that, but I genuinely feel bad for people like this because I don't think he's happy. I think he needs a lot of healing, honestly. And I wish he would get that, because there's no need to destroy everyone that is in your wake. 100% get what you're saying. Thanks, Andy. I feel bad for the people in their lives. I'll never feel bad for Ryan. Fair enough. And I do feel bad. I'm not saying that I am, and this is not me saying that I am excusing anything he has done or that I am saying it is okay or he should get a pass. No, that is not what I'm saying. It's just makes me sad to see people ruin their own life and others' lives just because they refuse to get the help they very clearly need. I don't think he wants to change. He seems to relish his power in a perverse way. And that's what I was meaning when I say it's like an addiction very often. It's an addiction to the power and the control and everything that comes with it. It very often is. Yes, I feel bad for the kids involved. Absolutely. Thank you. It's okay to feel that way because you're a kind person. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I agree. Hurt people, 100%. And we do fight for truth. Absolutely. It's sad, but we fight for truth. And again, at the end of the day, whether it's Isabella, whether it's Blake, whether it's Ryan, whether it's anybody in this mess that have been hurting other people and taking advantage of good people to get ahead and lying to get ahead, they're adults. Isabella's an adult. Brendan/Brandon, I don't know what it is. Glennar is an adult. These are all adults. They can change. They can decide. They've made their beds. So, or hear me out, he's just a bully for sure. And it's, for me, it still is just like, I just wish people would get the help they need. But some people are beyond help. Some people can also go and get the help, go to the spiritual retreats, do the healing, get the therapist, and they still don't, it's just sad overall. And that's too. People can change, but are they willing to? You can't, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Exactly. Can't force people to change their lives. Can't force people to be good people. Can't force people to give a shit that they're destroying lives at the end of the day. All right, my friends. Thank you. You have a kind heart, Ashley. Hate the sin, but not the sinner, while holding them accountable. Thank you. I appreciate that you guys see where I'm coming from with that. Okay, my friends, it was so nice to hang out with you today. I do have to run, and I actually have to get some chickens together. And I hope you guys had fun in the chat as well. Great episode. Bush birds. I had to go get some of my own birds together. And I have, guys, some exciting news. If you're not following me on Instagram, you have to follow me on Instagram, Ashley Brianna Eve, because I'm going to have a couple Easter eggs for you and some exciting news. So make sure, head over to Instagram, Ashley Brianna Eve. I have some exciting news I'm going to be dropping in the Instagram stories over there today. All right, my friends. I know it's so hard for me to leave. I just love you guys so much. I love hanging out with you guys. It's so hard for me to leave. Thank you for being here. See you in another chat somewhere. Yes, I no doubt you guys will have another chat to hang out in today. Before you go, please like, subscribe. Check out the exposés on Hollywood if you want more on Ryan Reynolds and Ari Emanuel. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.